Sake, Tuki, Nuki, Sake,
That's probably why.
Nuki. There you go.
How's it going?
I'm doing wonderfully. How about yourself? I will have to limit it to
Per-
a small to mid-sized meme because I am growing increasingly antisocial with time.
I hear you, dude. I'm amazed you made it through all of it.
Hit me up, comrade. What's on your mind?
Um, so I guess my only question, then I'll make it really quick, is the sort of question of like looking at the possibilities of how we manage to take over the system, at least in the short term. And my question goes to sort of politically how one would be able to uh, like the chances of taking over political parties as opposed to creating more political parties and making them more tied to workers' needs, i.e., effectively giving us a version of the Labour Party as seen in England. Like, is that a more viable strategy? Because I found with a lot of the sort of traditional Democrats, it feels like in every single aspect of trying to take over, most of the people that have been elected to take over the party end up playing patty cake with them, and that feels like that's not really accomplishing anything.
Yeah, the problem is like political parties will always vie for like an optimization of their power essentially, and the greatest way to attain power and like meaningfully in any political context is always going to be to side with those who are already in power, or to find some sort of junction or fracture along which you can like sort of form your own alliances, and that's not really great for what us leftists want, actually. So in regards to that, I think that Yay. um I don't know if creating new political parties is an excellent way, really, of shut up. I don't know if that's an excellent way of like forming decent advocacy, personally. I think maybe the most you can hope for, particularly in America, is you have your parties here. You have the parties that already exist. You two and only two, and you try to co-opt the more populist leaning radical elements of the Democratic Party, and you push the mainstream Democratic Party relentlessly until they have essentially no choice to you have to capitulate or you have to lose. I don't know if it's really possible to create a new party in a way that would work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess my only other question being is, do you think that if Bernie decided to say, you know what, you screwed me last time, you screw me again, I will literally run third party because a large section of the population did not vote, and I feel like sometimes it's easier to convince some of the people that did not vote that, oh shit, if I have health insurance no longer tied to my job, losing my job is not necessarily that big of a problem compared to the literal heat death of the human population and giant resource wars later.
Yeah, probably. I don't know if Bernie Sanders himself is really capable of that. Why am I a sand boy? I don't really know if Bernie Sanders himself is capable of that, but with time, as things grow closer and closer towards, the end of capitalism, as late stage capitalism grows more and more unsustainable, it'll become increasingly difficult for the Democratic Party to avoid the populist demands of their more radical constituency. So hopefully we can work from that, you know?
Good enough. Well, I will leave you with a spicy meme. Fuck John Hickenlooper, that asshole, and Hillary's campaign transition team dude, Ken Salazar, brought fracking to Colorado. So fuck that asshole. I'm so glad he's gone.
I mean,
Also,
at least he had to drink some of the fluid, right?
true enough.
Buddy?
Oh yeah, sorry, still here. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you are. I was going to say I love you, buddy. What the fuck?
Love you too, buddy.
All
Take
right.
care.
Have a good one. Take care. It's been like years since I've played Minecraft. It's been so fucking long. God damn. All right, we just got a few more folks to talk to. Zeloff. would probably help if I unmuted you, huh? There you go.
That definitely would help. Hello, comrade. How are you?
I'm doing wonderfully. Damn, you're all up in my ear. All right, hit me up. What do you got,
Yeah,
comrade?
I've got this fancy ass AT 2020. You said, didn't you get a new microphone? What kind of microphone did you get?
Oh, I don't know. You'd have to ask LTS. I just fucking click buy on whatever he links me on Amazon to build like that. I don't pretend to be tech proficient, okay?
I gotcha. Hey, yeah, on that note, I see that you're playing Minecraft. So I actually have a Minecraft server that I've been renting out for an extended period of time, but I've done absolutely nothing with. So I could probably post that in chat sometime, and maybe we could get like a Vosh Minecraft server going.
I appreciate the offer, but I'm afraid that I've already committed myself to a Minecraft server. In fact,
Same,
Pig
yeah,
Puncher
I
just
gotcha.
posted in chat that he's buying it now.
Ooh,
It'll be where the fucking cool kid baby bread tubers hang out to build houses
yeah,
together.
hell yeah, some
All of which will be
Zoomer
streamed, of course.
lefty action going down.
Absolutely.
All right. So I wanted to touch on a subject that has been very important to me recently, and I don't know. I am the big dumb whenever it comes to like psychological issues. So this might be like very obvious to a lot of people, or particularly well known. It's just something that I had never heard of until recently. Are you aware of anhedonia?
I'm afraid I do not know what that is.
Okay, cool, awesome. All right, so I actually found out about this because of Destiny. He mentioned it after he like went on a bend where he did a bunch of shrooms, and then afterwards he basically experienced like 48 straight hours of anhedonia, which basically what it is it's like the inability to, or it's defined as like the inability to feel pleasure. And hedonism basically is how the root word there.
Yes.
So effectively the so I've sort of come to realize that for myself, I've been dealing with this like my entire life pretty much from like a very young age. It's one of those things where it's like I've gone through like the list of literally every single possible self-help thing. I've like thought that maybe I'm antisocial, maybe I'm an incel, maybe I'm like any of the above, but I've never really fully fit any of these definitions until I realized that like the core issue, and more or less what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to just like spread awareness of this because it's something that for me was not obvious. Because effectively like whenever you deal with anhedonia, you're sort of like in a state where like your whole emotional state is at like a complete neutral level, so you don't really feel like a desire to like go out and be happy or do anything. You're not necessarily depressed, but like if like the way that Destiny described it, I felt was very apt. Like he talked
Mhm.
about how he just like laid in bed and he was just like if somebody was like, "Hey, you want to go out and hang out?" He was just like, "No, why the fuck would I want to do that? I'm staring at the wall right now." Like, which it sounds weird, it sounds bizarre, but that is generally the state of mind that I've been in for like most of my life. Um,
I have, well, I don't believe I've experienced what you're describing right now. I mean, I do suffer from bipolar disorder and occasionally
yeah.
manic depression. So I have had periods where I'm just not capable of being happy.
Hmm. Yeah, and certainly I think that like that's the biggest thing I guess for me, and I'm kind of wondering. I haven't. This is something that I found out about myself about 2 months ago, and since then I've tried to really make sure that I'm reaffirming to myself that I'm like having fun in social situations, that I do want to go out and do things, and like trying to build out that disparity between like sadness and happiness, basically like recognizing that there is a distinction in my mind, and like keep building up that sort of like action to reward sort of like connection. Because most of the time like it's very easy for my brain to be like for instance, if I were to like ask out somebody that I'm really into, and they were like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, I want to go out with you. Like I like you too." Then like I'd be like, I'd go from like a flatline neutral state to like a tiny bit happy, and then I'd just like mellow out in like an hour, and that'd be like, cool, that's a thing that I did.
Have
Like
you
yeah.
have you been able to find any way of coping in the long term?
What do you mean by that in particular? Like a long-term plan or?
Well, obviously, anhedonia has an adverse effect on one's life.
Yeah.
Have you found any coping strategies or any ways to sort of help you better distinguish happiness from sadness, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
extend that distinction?
Yeah, effectively, like the goal that I'm currently going with, and I'm by no means a medical professional, and I have some like personal reasons as to. Here's the thing. Certainly this is something that if anyone is listening, you should always go out and seek the assistance of a medical professional for these issues. I have my own reasons for not doing that at the moment, but I do plan on doing that in the future. But to answer your question, effectively, my current goal is to just really make sure that anytime that I feel just like the slightest inkling of like something is good, like I'm feeling a little bit of happiness, feeling like maybe a tiny bit of dopamine, then I'm just like, I keep telling myself like, yes, this is good, this is great, like you like this is a good thing. For instance, I'm a digital artist. I enjoy drawing, and drawing has been like one of the few things where even before I realized this, like I became way entrenched in it because like it fairly reliably would give me this the like a positive emotional state. So but it doesn't always do it. So oftentimes like while I'm drawing, I'm just like, yeah, like I'll tell myself in my brain, this is good, I'm having a good time, I love drawing, it's something that I'm passionate about. So yeah, I'd say that that might be something that I'd recommend anyone who experiences this. um
So to
and hopefully it's
positively
yeah.
reaffirm positive emotions, like to actually
Yeah,
remind
basically,
yourself you're
which
experiencing them.
exactly, which sounds really weird, really bizarre that somebody would need to do that because but for me, like it's not intuitive. Because like this dates back to like me as a child. One of the biggest things also with like the Destiny video that he put out about it, where he mentioned it, the number one thing that resonated with me, where I realized like, oh fuck, this is it, this is the thing that's like that's been eating away at me like my whole life, is it makes you feel like you're not really human, like you're missing a qualifier because you see everyone else around you and you're like, yeah, people like being alive and having fun and being happy. Like, why don't I feel that? Why don't I want to be happy? It's weird. It's something about it just doesn't fully click in my brain
Yeah, I feel
automatically.
like Destiny's conversations on mental illness and happiness and stuff worked. They did a lot of good for a lot of people. Because
Hmm.
normally gamer bros don't really discuss topics like that, and he, I think, pretty adeptly laid out how there's like a baseline level of neurological proficiency that we rely upon to be able to live our lives, and if that goes out from under us, then we're pretty much like shit out of luck, you know. And a lot of people don't
Yeah.
understand that.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's hard to sort of, I guess, fully understand certain neurological issues like from the outside whenever you're not the one who's like personally experiencing them, or even inversely, like if you are somebody who's experienced a neurological disorder for like an extremely long period of time, you might not be able to recognize that that isn't the norm for yourself.
Yeah,
um
absolutely.
yeah.
All right, we're definitely running on the long end of the meme. Would you like to hit the chat with a departure?
Yeah, two super speedy things. One quick thing. Have you ever read Baki the Grappler? Have you read that manga?
I have not read Baki the Grappler.
You should check it out. I think that based off of your artwork, I think that you would love it. It's a pretty cool martial arts manga. The only other thing, just want to plug my Twitter. I'm at Zeloff. I draw cutesy anime girls on there, primarily Toho shit. So,
What's Toho?
eh, it's a Japanese bullet hell game series. It's made by like a single guy. If you know Undertale, Toby Fox was like heavily inspired by it. It's got some bopping ass music.
Hell yeah, I love boppin' ass music. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that with us, friend.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Vosh. I appreciate you bringing me on. Trans rights.
Trans rights, comrade. Have yourself a good day, okay?
Yep. You too. Love you, bud.
Love you, bud. What good friends today. All right, just a few more. Tetra Pak. Tetra Pak. Tetra Pak. Tell me how you're doing.
Oh my
Tetra
God.
Pak. Hey,
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing?
Nice. Well enough. It's almost 1 a.m. here, so yep, all's good.
And it is a pleasure to have you here. There is a little bit of an echo, but and you're a bit on the quiet side, but I'm sure we can get over that.
I can increase the threshold in Discord. Maybe that'll help. Is this better?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. So there is literally no structure to the things I'd like to discuss, but if I get to say one meme on this stream here,
Mm-hmm.
since you're a consequentialist and you like media critique, what do you think of the Luben Schluben scenario?
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that scenario.
It's a thought experiment that I think Big Joel came up with in a response to Sargon. It'll get even better, trust me.
Mhm.
The idea is, imagine there's this hypothetical Nazi propaganda film. Let's call it Luben Schluben. And it's just so ridiculously Nazi. It is just such a slobbering, disgusting French kiss to fascism that it doesn't manage to convince a single person who doesn't already agree with 100% of what it's saying to be Nazi, right? Can we as consequentialists then say that it's a bad film because it promotes this vile and harmful ideology, or are we forced to say, well, it's not morally bad because it didn't do any measurable harm to the world?
Well, for one, I wouldn't say that a piece of art is bad exclusively because it promotes political values I disagree with. There are pieces of art which I recognize are pretty fucking problematic, but are nonetheless excellent pieces of art. So I do think that there's a consequentialist bent to respecting other artistic forms. Or the value of art outside of the political agendas that it pushes. But in regards specifically to the issue of its political agenda, I would still say that such the Hugenluben, or whatever it is you said, that it is a bad show. Hubenschluben. Because even if it does not manage to convince anyone other than those who are already Nazis, that doesn't change the fact that it could embolden them, it could give them new arguments, it could reinforce their worldview and give them legitimacy in a way that they have not otherwise experienced. Even if it wouldn't convince any new people, it still propagates that idea. So that would be my response. That there's still a bar that could be set there to indicate a consequential harm.
I see. Well, my take on it was basically that even if this film itself isn't necessarily harmful, films that promote a harmful ideology like that are bad as a rule, because even if Lüben Schlüben particularly didn't manage to do any damage, that we should still condemn expression of, or rather not expression, but works of that kind to prevent maybe something more damaging to be created in the future.
Yeah, there are plenty of ways where something like that can end up having negative consequences down the line, even if in the immediate moment it doesn't seem like it's convincing anybody.
Okay, well, I'll admit this was mostly just a way for me to say the word Lüben Schlüben a bunch of times on your stream.
And you got me to say it, and that's the first time I've ever said anything that dumb. Wait, what country are you from?
Germany.
Okay. Alright, just making sure. You say
I'm flattered that you notice.
You say it much more confidently than I would. Thank you for your feisty meme, comrade. I apologize if I'm a little bit out of it. I've just been doing this for a short time. Wah. I love you very much.
Um,
Do you want to hit the chat with a final meme with your departure?
Ooh, I have some to choose from, actually. Um, well, as a consequentialist, I'm forced to pick the one departure meme that has the most potential to do something to the world, at least, I guess.
Mhm.
For your next D&D campaign, since you like playing paladins, please look up the Oath of the Common Man. It's a homebrew, and it adds communist paladins, and it actually fits surprisingly well.
Absolutely. I promise that to advance the material interests of the proletariat, I will take a look at that homebrew before my next campaign.
Kin Switcher decrees.
I'm sorry?
Kin Switcher decrees, I guess.
Oh, I could, but I'm DMing right now. I'm not actually playing any paladins at the moment.
That was a departing
Farewell, comrade. It was a
exclamation.
delight to speak with you.
Same here. Love you.
Love you too. Trans rights.